Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another unboxing. This series of videos is the unboxing of the components that I will use on the two breakaway frames that I'm building, one for Jess, one for myself, so that we can travel back to Pittsburgh. So we'll be in Pittsburgh, time frame of the second week of August and throughout. So if you want to do a meetup of some sort, I believe we're going to try to catch a Major Taylor ride of some on one of those days at least. So get in touch for that. Okay, so we're going to talk handlebars on this video. Now, personally, I really love the Superlogic handlebar, and let me get the exact name for it. It's Evo Curve. What's it called? Superlogic Evo Curve. Now, I love the shape of that bar. I've put it on several of my bikes, and I've sold quite a few of those to other people just by saying, hey, go ahead and straddle this bike, see how this bar feels, see how you like the drops, see how you like the tops. But this being a travel bike and it being a breakaway bike, I had two considerations. One, I was more interested in durability, travel friendly. I was thinking more about it not showing up somewhere with a broken handlebar. Let's just be frank. Secondly, I also was considering a narrower bar just to see if maybe it's easier to pack a narrow bar as opposed to the standard bar width that I ride. I am not on board with the 30 something narrow bars, you know, the silliness I hear on the Nero show. Jesse has to have a 36 bar. That's not me. But for practicality, I thought I would go with a 40 bar. And then for Jess, we would go with a 38 bar. Now, I mean, all these bars, they measure differently, but generally I ride 42, 44s, right? I just like the way they feel when I'm climbing on a steep grade, 15, 20%er, and I get down in the drops and I feel like I have good leverage. That's just my own personal thing. Jess can ride a 40 or 38. You know, she's a 5'8" gal. She's not petite and 5 foot and needs, you know, a really narrow bar. But I also thought, okay, this might also be easier to pack her bike as well with a 38. It's also not our primary bike, so we can pretty much get away with, I mean, the length of the stem may not be the correct one, or you know, all kinds of things you can get by as long as your saddle is the right saddle. Everything else is you can pretty much get by on a trip somewhere. So we're going to unwrap. Let's see which one this is. So this is the 40. So this will be mine. Now, I've had a gentleman who has asked me about this bar a few times, and I said, you know, I don't know the bar. I've never purchased it. But what happened was, Ritchey used to make the Superlogic Evo Curve in an aluminum bar. I don't see it anymore. I used to sell that bike, that handlebar as well. So it had the same shape of the Evo Curve, but it was an aluminum version. So, but this is the closest I've been able to find to that Evo Curve that I used to, or that I ride on my, as a carbon version. And Jay has asked me about this Skyline bar a few times, and I'm like, I don't know much about that bar. But I'm looking at it, and so much of it is reminiscent of the Evo Curve. So I guess they just discontinued it and made an update here or there. So let's talk about this. It's triple butted aluminum at 770, 75. I'll look at the spec here in a second just to give it to you correctly. 7050 T6 alloy. Okay, so one of the things that really is reminiscent to the Evo Curve is this larger round top, so it's not actually flat. I'm not really a fan of flat tops, but I do like a nice width with a little bit of a curve to it, right? So let's go down here and we'll look at the spec itself. So this being a 40 bar, the 38 and the 40 will have a 70 reach. So reach, best way to describe reach is if you drew a line through the center of this handlebar to here, that's your reach. And then this would be your drop, okay? So reach and then drop. So the reach on this bar, 70 for the 38 and the 40. And, you know, with all the hydraulic disc brake setups, those lever bodies are much longer. So you have to consider your reach much more now than you used to on just a regular mechanical drivetrain. And then it's a 115 drop. And it looks like they do 2 bars that way, 38 and 40, 115 drop. And then on the 42, they increase that drop to a 120 and then a 125. And then the reach increases 75 to 80, right? So I guess it makes sense if you're a bigger person, longer arms, you might need a longer reach here, okay? Now, they claim that this has, down here, a 5-degree flare, and it's barely noticeable. 5-degree flare, okay? And I mentioned this in a unboxing for the Pro Discover 30 that I'm putting on a Outback sweep. So if you drew that imaginary line again, right, through the center of this bar comes back towards the rider. I believe it's 4.5 degrees. Let me see what they said. Yep, 4.5-degree sweep. So that 4.5 is barely noticeable. The 5-degree flare out or drop flare is barely noticeable. So I like that because I don't like a bar to have too many weird stuff on it. I just like a standard bar. And Jess, she'll ride just about anything. She has a saying, ride what you got, and she does. Now, maybe a little controversy is some folks do not like this anatomic bend here. Some people do. Now, God, that really loud, annoying bike fitter from Cade Media, James. Apparently, he doesn't like these anatomical bends because it says, oh, it forces you to only ride in that position. Not true always. Yes, it gives you a preferred position on this drop because you can see the rest of the drop is really short. But generally, you would want to be there anyway. And it's not as flat as I've seen other bars. I don't have one to show you right now, but I don't mind it. Jess will get used to it, I'm sure. So that, for some folks, might be a little bit of a controversy. And I think that's about it. Now, I know, oh, yeah, so it's compatible with the 260 stem. Now, I've got another video because I'm also going to do the stems. And the stems are Toyon stems, Toyon stems. But, you know, these bars for $110 or so, this is a great bar. It's got a great shape to it. This is the WCS bar. So that's why it's got the rainbow colors there for World Championship Series. But you could also get this in a comp and it'll drop it another 30, 40 bucks. So Jay, thanks for making me aware of this bar, the Skyline bar. This will be used now on our builds, and I will give you folks some rider input after I've ridden the bar, just an unboxing. Okay, please like and subscribe. I've got a lot of components or things that I'm doing for builds on the Ritchey Breakaway Road and the Ritchey Outback as well. So just stay tuned. Hit that notification bell so you know when I've posted another video. And in the meantime, we'll see you up the road.